Joining me today is PFL lightweight Anthony Pettis, who takes on Alex Martinez in the main event of PFL 4 on June 10. Anthony, how's it going?
I'm chilling.
How's quarantine been? Is it a little different? Or are you better adjusted from the last time around?
No, it's the same, man. It's like a lot of doing nothing. Our training sessions are like 2, 3 hours a day, and then you got the rest of the day just to kind of sit around and think about life. So yeah, kind of over the quarantine thing.
Is it hard to just be there with your thoughts, kind of like doing that for a long time? I believe this time's shorter though than last time, right?
Yeah, this time's 12 days. Last time was 17 days. That was long. I feel like I was in I don't even know. It was weird.
What have you been doing? Are you been like kind of watch? Are you trying to stay away from the fight, like when you're not trading, like watching other stuff, chilling, or are you finding yourself kind of watching footage? What have you been doing?
A little bit of both. I think a little healthy balance. I'm getting some work done, talking to my family. I got a kid on the way actually. I have a daughter due 4 days after the fight, so checking in with back home, making sure she's good. Got my coaches here, so they're kind of keeping me level headed. So we're figuring it out. We're making the best of it.
That's awesome. Congratulations. As if you needed any more motivation, right?
Bro.
Yeah. And before I talk about your fight with Alex, I wanted to touch on your last one. Obviously, didn't go your way, but it was a great back and forth, super entertaining fight. You came on strong in round three, kind of rocked him with a head kick, through that flying knee. How would you assess your performance? Have you gotten a chance to rewatch that, and what do you feel like went wrong?
Yeah, I watched it. It was bad. It was funny. I got home and my daughter was like, "Dad, can I tell you something?" And my daughter's 10, like the older one. She's like, "Your fight looked horrible." And I'm like, man, she's just like me. Like, she's so honest. And like, yeah, I'm like, you're right. I watched the fight. Man, it went so fast. It went by so quick. I think I like put that pressure on myself to perform. I went out there, my southpaw stance, try to do the flashy kicks and like, I forgot to get the basics going. And, these fights go by so fast. And, I know so much of martial arts. It's hard for me to decide which one's the right one to go out there with. And I chose the wrong version of myself that night.
And yeah, because obviously you were their massive signing. The whole kind of show was centered around you. You're no stranger to having like being under the bright lights, right? But what was that like, just being in this type of scenario where you're kind of like in a new organization, new home, a lot of attention, probably a lot of media obligations as well, right? Like, what was that whole process like?
Well, all that's been. I'm used to all that. The media obligations. I've been on some of the biggest cards. I title shot, title defenses. So I'm used to all that stuff. The new thing for me was the process of this whole event. A 17-day quarantine, going back down to lightweight for the first time in like 2 years under the 17-day quarantine, because we don't have saunas here. Like, we got like the small saunas and stuff. So like that whole process was just all new for me, man. I never had to be like away from my training facilities for 17 days before the fight, and then like get acclimated to that, and then going into the cage. I fought on vinyl, not canvas. Little things like that I made note of. I'm like, all right, now next time around, I gotta understand what I'm going into.
Right. And this is a relatively quick turnaround, obviously being the nature of the tournament format. Do you like that? First of all, did you come out like unscathed and bumps and bruises? Sure, the usual fight stuff, but do you feel fine, or how do you feel?
Oh yeah, man, I feel fine. I think it's weird because like usually I get some time off. Like after a fight, you get a month off, or at least a couple weeks just to like get your bumps and bruises going. This time we had a 7-week turnaround in between the fights, and then we had a 12-day quarantine. So I literally had like 5 weeks back home. But it just shows me how durable I am, man. Like I'm not made of glass. I can go out there and do this. This is what I do.
Right. And how about the weight cut? Like, obviously, I know 55. You did 45 before, so I know you're no stranger to a big weight cut. But did you try to just keep your weight low? What was kind of like the process like with not trying to balloon up, since you have to turn around pretty quickly?
Yeah, I hired a nutritionist. Well, I didn't hire him. I had the same nutritionist for a while now, Eric Pena. I
Yeah.
just fly him out. He lives with me. He makes all my meals. He tells me what to eat, what supplements. I'm like a race car, and he just like tells me what to do and when to sleep, and I just listen to him. I trust him now with everything, man. Like, me and him have a lot of camps together. So when it comes to the weight cut part, last time I had him here with me in the bubble. This time I got him an Airbnb, so he's not with me in the bubble. So it's a little different without having that person that makes your food and makes sure you're on your weight and checks your weight at all times. But I made 155. That was my first time going there. That's why I wanted to have a lot of time with him. The last fight, so I feel like I'm comfortable again, where my weight's like exactly where it needs to be to get back down to 155.
Why isn't he in the bubble with you this time? Did he come in later, or what was the?
No, I just wanted another corner because I think he cornered me, and you know, he's not a mixed martial artist. You know, it's like with him, he was just kind of quiet in the corner. So my little brother's gonna come in at the last minute and be my corner, my third.
Oh, that's awesome. And
Uh,
speaking of Sergio, I mean, what was it like kind of seeing him become champion? I know, like you've always kind of taken care of your little brother. You guys started this whole journey together. What was it like to see him kind of realize his dream? You know what it's like to become a world champion, but
oh
to see
man,
him.
it was amazing. You know, like when I first set out to do this, you know, he followed in my footsteps, and my mom was like, "You're responsible for him, pretty much. Like, yo, whatever happens to him, it's on you." And ever since then, you know, I get nervous, more nervous for his fights than my fights, and I've seen him not only become the champion, but the way he did it. You know, man, it was flawless. Kind of like the way I won the belt. You know, when I beat Ben Henderson in Milwaukee, first round, flawless. Didn't even get touched. Same thing for him. He got fired. You know, he got a decision, but like still, he was just not touched. His boxing looked good. His striking looked good. Like I couldn't be more proud.
Yeah, for sure. And it's great though he'll be in your corner. Let's talk about your next fight. Alex Martinez comes from a Taekwondo background himself. So what do you think of the matchup? And were you familiar with him or just that one fight that you saw in his PFL debut?
Just that one fight. And there's so many fighters now. It's hard to like keep track of like all the new talent that's coming in. But the PFL did a great job of bringing some talent into this tournament. Um, yeah, I like his style. You know, he's a bigger 55er. Uses his front leg round kick. Got decent hands, good off his back. Um, Showed some decent wrestling defense and offense in that last fight. So I mean, all these guys are dangerous. I'm gonna go out there and not try to like be this flashy taekwondo for taekwondo guy. I'm gonna get my basics going, be a smart fighter, and be the professional I am. I think last fight I wasn't. I didn't look like a champ. I didn't look like a professional at all in my last fight, and I'd be the first to say that. Like I made a lot of technical errors that I shouldn't have made. I chose the wrong version to fight in that fight. Where this one, I'm gonna make all the right technical decisions, and then that will lead to the thing that I was trying to force in the last fight.
Right, and he was taken down a couple of times. He did show good defense. He was taken down a couple of times in that fight. Do you see grappling at all in this fight? I know you're very good with your jiu-jitsu. Maybe not necessarily a guy who attacks crazy with the takedowns, but you're obviously a very proficient in your jiu-jitsu. So do you see that at all, or do you get excited about the whole taekwondo versus taekwondo thing?
No, I'm not even playing into that taekwondo versus taekwondo thing. I think like last one I was playing into that striker versus striker thing against Collard, and like I just chose the wrong version of the striker that I should have fought him as. Whereas this one, like I'm a mixed martial artist, I'm a former champion, and I know how to perform under these circumstances. So I got to like get my head right and be that person who I know I am. And you know, it's weird because I have to attach myself to the basics and not to like the big moves. Because if I attach myself to the big moves, that's when I force things to happen. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously, you know, they call you Showtime for a reason. A lot of your highlights, you've surprised us with a lot of these crazy things, like the Showtime kick, your knockout against Wonder Boy Thompson. So these things are kind of instinctual for you, right? Like, do you feel like when you don't think about it so much, they just come out?
Yeah, like if you think about both of them fights, like even like the Showtime kick, when I threw the Showtime kick, it was 4 rounds of amazing basics, and then I threw a Showtime kick. Wonder Boy, I had to find that low kick for the first 2 rounds, and like he was busting my nose up, and then I found the Superman punch. Whereas like this last fight, I was just trying to throw dumb things, and when it didn't make sense.
Right. And what do you think, like, at this point in your career, when you're getting guys that you're not that familiar with, I don't think you're used to that too much because obviously you fought the best of the best, and these are super talented guys as well. But it's kind of different for you at this point in your stage because you're getting these guys that perhaps you're not that familiar with. So have you found that adjustment hard? Have you found yourself having to watch a lot more tape, focus a lot more on breaking things down, maybe in an analytical way, or what's that been like for you?
The first one, I didn't do it analytically at all. Honestly, I was like, all right, I know he's a striker. I'm gonna go out there and knock this guy out. And I was just practicing power moves and just a crazy looking. The style that I showed is what I was trying to portray and do. Whereas this time around, I'm like, all right, no more. I didn't know. I don't think I did a spin kick once this camp or a jump kick once this camp. It was all basics, all footwork, all fundamentals, all angles, all structure, and my kicks are landing again because I'm winning those positions. And I'm like, damn. I told Duke like when we got here, I'm like, how did I forget to be on that vibe? And you know, me and Duke just we've been together so long. He knows what to say and how to say it. And yeah, well, I mean, I feel like I'm back attached to the right focuses, the little things that matter.
For sure. And from what you saw from his striking in his first fight, what do you make of his striking?
He's dangerous. I mean, like I said, that Taekwondo background, it makes it dangerous for everybody because it's like an offset. Like most Muay Thai guys or boxers, like guys that are like boxer wrestlers, you know that rhythm. Whereas Taekwondo, kicks just flop up. Like they flash up, they come from the front leg, they come from different angles. So that no matter what, that's always dangerous. But the only good thing is I've been point sparring my whole life. So I've seen those kicks forever. And, I fought Wonder Boy, one of the best at, them kind of kicks. And, I did very well against that. So, but confidence is there. It's just being the right version of myself.
Right. And what do you make of kind of the landscape of lightweight? Nobody notched the finish from the lightweight, so it's kind of anybody's ball game. What do you make of the rest of the fight? Nathan Schultz, back-to-back champ, he was upset in his first fight. So what do you make of the rest of the fights if you watch them?
155 is the most stacked division in any organization. I mean, I don't care what top organization though. You look at the lightweight division. I think it's because it's the most common weight for a man is like 155, 170 pounds, and then as they get bigger, it's like they can do other sports. Whereas mixed martial arts, like that's if you're around that size, it makes sense to do or boxing. So I think that's why the lightweight division is always so stacked in every division. But yeah, like Marcin Held is a former teammate of mine who fought the former champ. I know how good he was. Like he has great jiu-jitsu and striking, good boxing. The guy Clay Collard, good boxing, good takedown D, durable. The guy I'm fighting next. I mean, they did a good job of recruiting talent. Lightweight divisions is always stacked.
I agree. And speaking of boxing, your teammate Tyron Woodley scheduled to fight Jake Paul. What do you think of that? I mean, kind of two Rufus sport guys. Are you up next or what?
Man, I hope so. Dang, I feel like if I think Willie's gonna end this one. Willie has some hands, and I spar with Willie. He's gonna take it serious. I'm glad that he's getting a shot like this. Even Ben, man, like for my teammates to get opportunities like that, it's amazing, man. Like I respect it, and Woodley, I think he's gonna take it serious. He has to win this one, man. Like Woodley's not the guy that Ben is when it comes to like brushing things off. I think Woodley would take a little more personable, like if something happened like that. So yeah, he has to win this one.
Yeah, because he was saying like I'm training, like he said, I'm gonna train for this really, really hard. Like even if Jake Paul doesn't stack up against some of the top level competition he's fought throughout his UFC career as a champion, but he said I'm taking this very, very seriously.
I told him right when I found out, I'm like, yo, I'm in Vegas. My daughter comes in a week. I'm like, you need any work, I'm there. Like, anytime you want to come in for sparring or get some boxing rounds with my guys, like, let me know.
And you, I believe, were briefly linked to a fight with Oscar De La Hoya. What happened with that? And do you see boxing in your future? Are you kind of interested in this boxing extravaganza?
Oh yeah, man. I think I was like one of the first guys that was like into boxing, like in mixed martial arts. I think boxing is what got me into mixed martial arts. Like watching De La Hoya and Trinidad. I'm Mexican and Puerto Rican, so like watching that fight, it's like a dream of mine to box. My fiance knows how much I love boxing, and I've sparred with some great boxers. But I just been so focused on mixed martial arts, I haven't really turned that page yet. But when Oscar De La Hoya happened, that's when I was a free agent. So like it was right between the PFL tournament or waiting for Oscar De La Hoya fight, and I don't want my time in mixed martial arts to be done yet. I'm ready. I'm still loving it. I'm still training hard and having fun with it. So when that changes, that's when I'll start looking for other stuff.
And when you look at a guy like Oscar De La Hoya as opposed to Jake Paul, they obviously completely different. One's an actual boxer, but a lot older, and someone who's just getting into it. What kind of opponent would you rather face?
Oscar De La Hoya. Oh my God, that's a dream come true, man. Like you get a guy like that, like that's just a dream come true. Like I said, watching him fight Trinidad is like one of the biggest fights I ever remember as a kid. We're in the basement of my auntie's house, and when that fight happened, it was like one side of my family was going Trinidad, one of my side of my family was De La Hoya, and like that's crazy. And then like when that fight popped up, I'm like, man, that'd be amazing if I could fight De La Hoya.
Maybe down the line, you never know. Well, Anthony, I want to thank you so much for your time, but I want to leave you with a couple more questions kind of like on the side. First of all, your management group, I know you've recently created one, you have your own gym. What's the latest with your management group? Have you been able to sign a couple of guys and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, we got a lot of guys. We actually signed. Initially, I had a combine, and I recruited about 85, I think almost 90 guys. We got into the system, and we just had our first set of guys fight. 6 fights the week before. We have a fight coming up tomorrow. I got my first Showtime fighting championships starting in October, so a lot of good stuff coming up for my guys on my team.
Oh, awesome. Is that like an MMA organization you're starting?
Yeah, MMA in Wisconsin. So I came up in Wisconsin under our Duke system. We're called Gladiator Fighting Series, and we stopped doing that for a while. But at this point, I'm like, yo, it's I want the guys that I'm bringing up to have the opportunity where I control the fights, pick the fights who they're fighting, help them get their careers right, and make them stars in Wisconsin, and do it the same way I did it and pull them out to the big show. So yeah, that starts in October. October 2nd is our first actual fight card.
Very cool. A lot to congratulate you for, I guess. How are you finding that part of your career, kind of like helping that new wave of talent realize their dreams?
Well, I've already been doing it, like with my little brother's career. I've been in
True.
the not driver's seat, but like guiding him where he should go and helping him with where he should go. You look at guys like before me, Chico Camus was a guy that I got into the UFC. My little cousin Eli Garcia. There's been so many guys that like I just didn't take them under my wing. I had them like they followed me and they got to the big show, but then they got passed off to another manager. That manager had like way too many fighters. They couldn't show them love. So like now the homegrown culture is gonna their managers and their team, and like I mean not just the homegrown. Like we got guys. We got a guy in Brazil. We got our first guy that's fighting on the Dana White Contender Series. So we got a lot of good stuff coming in with this group. But it allows me to take control of the local talent that's in our gym now and give them an opportunity to get to the big show.
Very cool. And ask you about Charles Oliveira. He became the lightweight champion, a guy you fought and you beat years ago. What do you think of his career resurgence? I mean, it's pretty incredible what he's been able to do. Had a loss to you, Ricardo Lamas, and then I think he lost 3 out of his last 4 at one point, Paul Felder as well. And then he goes on this incredible run and wins the title. What did you make kind of his career resurgence?
It's beautiful, man. Like honestly, when I fought Oliver, I knew he was good. Like I was surprised by his striking. I remember like he did that T front kick, and I'm like, oh, he has like a good long kickboxing stance. I thought he was a jiu-jitsu guy, and then we kind of had a war, and then I got him with that guillotine. I think second or third round, but the way he's fighting right now, flawless. I mean, the way he's fighting the way he fought Tony Ferguson, the way you fought. I'm the champ. He a little like his last one of the champ, but for the title shot, he faced some adversity and pushed through it. Like seeing things like that is like, man, the guys, you gotta applaud that, man. I respect it. I know what my life was like when I got that belt. Good for him, man. He's living on top of the world right now. So hopefully he can keep it for a while. Like I said, lightweight's the most stacked division in most of these organizations.
I agree. And one last one. How do you see your fight playing out? Do you envision kind of a prediction or way it ends?
I'm putting these hands on him. I'm gonna go in there. Basic is not. I mean, more basic than I'm usually used to. Like a normal fight, good solid basics, and then I'll find my range. But yeah, I'm gonna put these hands on him.